Wow.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
just got real really quick. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is another Tuesday night with the one and only Ben Stowe. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight you are in for a special treat. This is our official Halloween show, getting you ready for the season. And the one and only Ben Stowe is ready for Halloween.
Well, everything is pumpkin flavored now everywhere you go, and it's believe it or not, really cold here in Minnesota already, and so I guess it's that time. Yeah,
It is that time. It is that time. And you're looking rather pinkish or reddish or kind of creepy, actually, Ben.
you're not the first person to tell me I look creepy, just so you know.
That's true. But we're not going to go there. That's another video that we'll get to another time.
Is this creeping you out?
This is kind of a little bit. And I'm thinking, we've got a lot of things to and I'm going to be losing my focus. I'm going to be losing my potential guidance of this show tonight because I'm going to be worried and having bad dreams.
All right, let's have our studio LD here.
Can we do like clap on? Okay, that was pretty cool.
If only I knew it was so simple.
That was pretty. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about lighting for your upcoming Halloween events. For a lot of you, this is a big time of year, especially this year when Halloween's going to be falling on a Saturday night. I'm fired up. The kids are getting fired up already, and my children usually don't get fired up until the day before. So this is going to be a pretty big year. And Ben, we wanted to talk Halloween stuff. So what have you got that you've been kind of digging through and putting some things together for us? Give us an overview of what's all there.
Well, I've just kind of grabbed a sort of a collection, some of the more common Halloween effects that we see employed. I think number one, black lights, strobe lights, fog machines. That's your top three right there. But as we saw in my also creepy intro, just using wash lighting, creating depth and shadows can be really good because humans rely on all of their senses. If we can sort of play havoc with one or two of those senses, we can really create some chaos. If you're planning a haunted house, obviously you need safe egress through the building, safe, passage for your attendees, but at the same time, providing lighting and not lighting in places can create a lot of confusion and disorientation and things that play into the effect you're trying to get. And of course, there's the effect of if we have light here, that makes a darker area even darker. Great way to conceal things and draw attention away from places you don't want people looking.
You bet, and that's part of it. We actually have done a couple of haunted houses over the years, and
Okay.
just what you can do with lighting and back and forth, and even some simple little things, as you're saying, an uplighting and just shining a light in one direction, and you can do so many really cool things that just gets that mind working and such. Now, Ben, I'm noticing that there's quite a bit of decoration on the set. I'm going to actually go to full screen here so everyone can see. You see that there's quite a few things there tonight. Now, is this something that's always at the NLFX Pro headquarters there, or where did the decorations come from tonight?
No, I mentioned to our marketing team that I was going to do a show on Halloween tonight, and I said, I don't have a lot of time to prepare. Can you just kind of help me put together some common effects and maybe a few props? And there is behind the camera a collection of props that would make Hollywood proud. I mean, what you're seeing here is what we could fit. I had no idea that they had so much Halloween stuff. So they've had a lot of fun with it. Obviously, we're still working on the new set that maybe someday we'll have. I don't know. But for now, we've still got the 1970s backdrop with some Halloween props around it.
That's great. For those of you wondering, we've been working on getting these sets upgraded a little bit. I think, Ben, you were saying you got a new camera that we're working with tonight, so it just takes time, gang. It takes time.
Yeah, hey, it's free, so
that's exactly. Yeah, exactly. So That's what we do with what we can. So tonight we're going to be talking about lighting, Halloween lighting, some Halloween effects and such. And let's jump into one of the biggest light fixtures that's used at the Halloween time, and that's getting into the UV effects. And one of the questions that I've gotten from people is, it used to be that we were always doing like a fluorescent type UV effect, and now today we're seeing LEDs everywhere in the UV world. Now, what is kind of the difference between the output and such, from one to the other?
Well, I think the first thing we should do is define what UV light is. And what we're talking about is ultraviolet light. It's often called black light. Specifically, it would be like a BLB, black light blue. And true black light is at the fringes of our visual spectrum. And so one of the great things about black light, as it were, particularly black light blue, is that you can't necessarily see the light, but you can see the effect of the light. And I'll show you an example of that here in a second. We'll fluoresce something is what we would call it. Now, that doesn't mean you use a fluorescent lamp, but that's the effect of when we shine a black light on something that is neon or glow in the dark, and it becomes very bright. Maybe even it's invisible until it's hit with UV light, and then it fluoresces a visible light component. Getting into the physics of an incandescent lamp versus a fluorescent lamp versus LED and so on and so forth, it's geeky, but let's maybe make it simple.
Sure.
An incandescent light doesn't really have a lot of UV light in it, so what you end up with is basically a purple light bulb.
Okay.
Functionally almost useless. Whereas metal halide lamps and high-intensity discharge lamps do have a very high UV component, and then they filter out the visible light, and we're left with a strong UV light, things like what we saw in the wildfire lights, for example.
Sure.
And now LEDs, of course, by the way that they're made, we can tune those wavelengths. And of course, all LEDs are not created equal. There are a variety of qualities out there, but they tend to do very well in terms of producing a UV light wavelength and fluoresce things very well. Jumping right into it, this one right here, this little dude is over $1,000.
Oh, wow.
But it's so worth it. This is the Roscoe Moreau Cube. And it's incredibly small, but it's incredibly bright. It throws, there's different optics you can put on the front, but it'll throw, 60, 70, 80 feet intensely. Right now, I have just a spot lens on it. But one of the cool things I want to show you before we turn it on is I'm going to take the guard off, and we'll take the optics out here.
And is that an LED fixture, Ben?
It is.
Okay.
So it's very small, and very low power consumption, but incredibly intense. So the real magic here is not only the quality of the LEDs, obviously that's very, very important, but also this guy right here. Now, it looks like a mirror, and that's because it's reflecting back virtually all of the visible light, but it's allowing to pass through the ultraviolet. So it's filtering even further these tuned LEDs into less and less of a visible light component. Now at short distances, it's going to still show up some visible light. Again, this is not designed for a 3-foot throw. This is actually designed for long distances and wide washes. But we'll do it anyway here.
So when you say it's meant for a longer throw than that, is that something that, say, if my throw was only a need of 6 to 8 feet, would that be just like almost over saturation or over bright? I mean, realize we're going to be showing it in a second, but would that be a possibility?
Yeah, possibility. Yeah, it depends on how wide that area is, though. If you took that energy and we wanted to spread it out, then perhaps it might be okay at those distances, or might be very useful at those distances.
Sure.
But I've got the long range optic on it right now. That's maybe a better way of saying what
Okay.
I'm saying. The optic that I have on it is designed for long throws.
Very good. Okay.
So let's go ahead and energize this. So in essence, we can make that spider fluoresce, and we could take maybe some invisible UV paint and it would become visible, or we can highlight certain parts of something that we're we're doing with it.
Now, Ben, we'll put that back on the back wall, because what I'm seeing on that is I'm seeing a purple dot in the middle, so it's just a hair bit bigger than a spider, and then it's got kind of a blue, kind of an aura around that purple dot. What are you seeing live?
Well, I don't see that, and you're seeing some artifacts from the camera.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I see mildly dark purple around the spider. And if we look at other LED fixtures, this one I really, really like. It's not nearly as precise as the Moreau Cube, but it has just incredible output. Great for big wash, and a fraction of the price. This being the ADJ UV Cob Cannon, has a chip-on board LED in it. You would see a lighter purple in this. It has more visible light, as it's not so finely tuned or filtered.
Okay.
This just dumps out a ton of UV light all over the place. So kind of a cool effect, less theatrical, but nonetheless a powerful UV effect.
Interesting. Now you mentioned tuning of LEDs. Is there a way that an average Joe consumer could be able to see and judge between the which LEDs are tuned which way, or is that just information that isn't produced or put out there for us?
It's if the manufacturers are putting out specs, and if their specs are reliable, then you could go with that. But we can't kid ourselves. When we get into the lower cost fixtures, there's going to be more plus or minus. That's just a part of getting lower tolerance fixtures. That's how the manufacturers are keeping the cost down, is they're using less precise, range of diodes. Roscoe's going to have a very limited set of wavelengths that those diodes have to operate within, a certain nanometer, in order to go into this fixture, and it's going to be, more precisely tuned, and it's going to cost more.
Sure.
And it doesn't necessarily mean one's better than the other. I mean, one will outperform the other, but it also has a cost. So there's a price and performance trade-off. I think probably the simplest thing, if I'm an average consumer, and I'm going to act under the assumption that most Broadway lighting designers don't watch our show. Maybe they do.
You never know.
I'm kind of that mid-level. I think the simplest thing is just to go look at the effects, take a look at, or talk to someone who has seen those effects side by side, and say, I'm looking for the best blacklight I can get for $400. Okay, well, this one's out. Yeah. But there's a lot of really good options still on the table.
Sure. Nice. Okay, that's interesting. That was something I wasn't aware of, with how the LEDs, how that all came together.
Yeah, and when we get into fluorescent tubes, it's I'll just kind of touch on that for a second because you asked, but that's very similar to our high intensity discharges, where we have this gas that is electrically excited inside, and that's creating visible light with the coating on the inside of the lamp tube, just like a white fluorescent light works, except that we're filtering more of those visible light wavelengths out and just accenting the ultraviolet light. That's the really oversimplified version.
Yeah.
But there is good visible light in fluorescent tubes. Good UV light in fluorescent tubes, so they work well. But of course, they're fragile. And, the LED is, I think, a great alternative. Just for fun, too, besides scenic theater and those sorts of places, another place that you see ultraviolet light used sometimes is model railroading, because I can make a sign look like a neon sign, by using fluorescent paint that will fluoresce and look like a neon sign, and you won't see the visible side of the UV light. So it's just a fun little tip if you ever go to a museum and see that or something.
Interesting.
Did one more useless nugget here.
Piece of knowledge that last weekend we were actually looking at a huge model railroad setup, and there could have been some there I wouldn't have known.
Well, a lot of times you see them on, like I said, like neon signs or movie theater marquees. Anytime they're trying to simulate like a fluorescent light, instead of using something like side light fiber, they could use that. So anyway, you have it.
There we go.
Yep.
So we've dug into the UV light. Now there's a couple of other things that strobes. Now that's a big thing for Halloween because we like to have that kind of that effect, that flash of the lightning and thunder and their creepiness. Let's dive into that a little bit. What do you have for options?
Well, here again, strobes can be disorienting, and disorienting can be an important part of the effect. By now you see it, now you don't. Things move in the dark. Uh, it's just adds to the overall creepy, I guess.
Yes.
So, strobe lights, they're all over the place. Kind of the most common type of strobe light is a xenon flash tube. Again, a electric arc tube. My personal favorite, maybe a bit overkill for a lot of applications, but you really just can't go wrong with this thing. The Martin Atomic 3000, it's a bad mamma jamma. But there's a lot of really good options out there as well. For example, this is the little Freak 5 strobe. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him well. Oh, you didn't know I knew Shakespeare?
You're just a Renaissance man.
You have no idea. All right. Our camera people are about to completely lose it right now, so it's going to be a blooper reel for this.
Yeah.
Good job pulling out Hamlet on them. So, yeah. All right. We're going to let that go.
Yeah. Freak 5.
Before it really gets out of hand. Yeah. So. What's cool about this, it's LED, so again, low power consumption, very bright, and also we have the ability here to control individual segments of the strobe, so we can create a little bit of motion and some visual effects and that sort of thing. So there's tons and tons of time. We can do an entire 3-hour show on all the LED strobe light options out there. And anyway, some great resources. Things with DMX on board, precise control. It's a really fun time to be working in lighting, I think.
And for those who haven't made the jump to LEDs, now when LED strobes first came out, they seem to have a lot of limitations. Have a lot of those, like speed and flash rate and different things, have those types of limitations? Have they been worked out in things like the Freak 5?
Yeah, absolutely. Here again, it's, the R&D curve and price and performance, the intensity of LEDs has improved, the color of LEDs has improved, the drivers, everything has improved. That doesn't mean you still can't find garbage out there. Of course you can. If you look at the selection and say, well, everything must be the same, that couldn't be any further from the truth. So. But are there some really great options out there? Yes. And are there great options out there now at affordable price points? Yeah. So again, like I said, it's a really fun time to be in lighting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we've UV'd, we've strobed, and now it's time to put that low-lying or that layer of fog that's going to make everything just kind of hidden and really creepy. What do you got for us?
Well, here again, you got all kinds of options. We can go with haze if we just want to create some thickness in the room. We can go with a big billowy fog. It comes down to what the designer is looking for. Of course, nothing says creepy like low-lying fog, and everybody's seems to be a big fan of that for Halloween. We have a special fluid that we use, but the fluid itself does not make the fog stay low. That's something I just got to put out there because that's something people get confused by. Well, if I put this fluid in my regular fog machine, it'll stay low. No, that's not the case. What's special about this fluid is it comes out very thick and full and very dense white, but then it goes away very quickly. And so as the fog rises, it disappears, and thus you continue to have the low-lying effect. But what keeps the fog low to begin with is cold. Warm air rises, hot air balloons, right?
Right, yeah.
So the opposite of a hot air balloon is chilling things. So we find fog machines that either use refrigeration units or even just regular old ice cubes, and we pump the fog through that. And of course, they have some great mechanisms to deal with as the ice melts. It creates water, and they'll pump that away. I've seen some do-it-yourself options out there. I tried it. Just so much simpler to just take something off the shelf that worked and go with that. But whatever your pleasure is, suit yourself. But anyway, it's the chilling of the fog that causes it to go and stay low. And then so as it begins to warm and rise, it will disappear. That's the magic of this fluid.
Ah, okay.
Other alternative is to not to use fog fluid at all, but to use water vapor in the most literal sense. And let's see what we've got here. The full size just would not fit on the table, but we have here in this case the Nimbus Junior.
Okay, yeah.
And what we do is we put water in the Nimbus Junior, or the Nimbus, the full-size Nimbus, or the P Super. There's several alternatives out there. And we have a heating element to heat the water to near boiling. And then inside we have a stainless steel basket. You put dry ice in. And dry ice, of course, is solidified carbon dioxide, which is very, very, very cold. You don't want it to come into contact with your skin. You should wear gloves and safety glasses when you're handling it and when you're putting it in the machine. But anyway, as a result, we put this carbon dioxide, this dry ice in the machine, drop the lever, and that dumps it into the water, and we quite literally create a cloud. We have condensed water vapor coming out of here at great pressure, and just there is no pump, there's no fan. It's just the expansion of that solidified carbon dioxide into gaseous carbon dioxide, and the water vapor from the cooling, condensing it, that creates a cloud in that environment. Downside of this, every time you want to make the effect, you need you need dry ice. People like to call it carbon dioxide, is what it is, but
sure.
You need dry ice, and you need this machine to stay warm enough, and so it's not a good continuous effect. It's a very intermittent effect. There are machines that use giant chillers and can produce very thick, heavy, low-lying fog continuously. They're also expensive. So here again, it's kind of a trade-off, price and performance.
Sure. But what a neat effect that would be to have that kind of blast of low-lying fog going across the floor and people hands reaching up out of that'd be really cool.
Well, and never mind the machine. You see this done other ways too, just by taking dry ice and dropping it into room temperature water and letting it slowly kind of precipitate out. I don't know if precipitate's the right word. Percolate?
Percolate, maybe? Boil.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But again, I can't stress enough caution when you're handling dry ice. Use gloves and safety glasses. Just protect yourself. No effect is worth getting hurt.
Yeah, and that can definitely be a nasty burn from that. Good stuff, Ben. Good stuff. We'll have to put some links and such in the description, because I'm sure people are going to want to get links on some of these fixtures and such that you've been talking about tonight. So we'll get those around and put those in the description below. Before we wrap up, though, we've got one more thing we're going to be doing here in just a couple of weeks down in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah. Well, before we get into that, I'll just say
have more for us. I'm sorry.
Well, no, when you mentioned links, I just started thinking that apparently people around here at NLFX really like Halloween. So if you need help with those effects, feel free to just drop us a line, give us a call. We do exhibit at several Halloween shows every year. We work with some very large corporate haunts, some theme parks, right down to the average user who just wants to do something fun in their garage. And so I think by virtue of having those conversations, we've got some resources, some experience, and clearly we have a lot of options available. So the links are great, but don't be afraid to use us as a resource to help you out too.
Yeah, we got a knowledgeable staff there that will definitely take care of a person. That's for sure.
They'll get right into it, as you can see.
There's the Ravens back.
I will do that nevermore.
We'll be in Las Vegas in about, goodness gosh, 2 3.
Edgar Allan Poe reference, and you just blew it.
I know. I want to continue on, because otherwise we're going to be there all night, and you're going to continue to pull things out, and the next thing you know, we're going to have Star Wars things coming out again. We're going to be at Las Vegas. Yeah, here they come. See, I knew it. You just got to start with.
Set change.
So we're going to be in Las Vegas. LDI is coming up here. We're going to be down there, what is it, the 21st through the 25th. But a special taping of Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe is going to be happening on the Friday and Saturday of LDI. That's going to be pretty cool.
Pretty cool for you. I've been thinking about this.
Ah.
So this is live on the stage.
On a stage.
At one of the largest technology shows in the world.
Yes. With
some of the smartest people in our industry in the audience.
That means I get to be the smart one and you can ask the questions.
I'm game.
Oh, this will be great.
I was afraid this was going to turn into a Let's Stump Ben for 40 minutes.
Oh, well, there's that idea. I'll have to scratch that one off my list.
Yeah, don't. Wasn't there a viewer who asked if I use Google or something to answer these questions?
Yes, yeah, we've had a few comments like that. People asking, it's like, does he like stop and go and research things quick? No, it doesn't happen that way.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
People are going to be coming back to me with the most arcane questions, you know. We'll come back to some of our past show favorites, like why is the sky blue and what is a buttload?
Exactly.
It's a jiffy, you know. But
speaking of the buttload, I actually heard that on talk radio the other day, and they gave the same definition that you had given us on the show. So yes, that's
well, it's a unit of measure. I mean,
it was, and they said that, and the person the other person that they were on the talk radio was like, no, it isn't. It's like they didn't watch our show, otherwise they would have known for sure.
Exactly. And if anybody's wondering, and we're not going to tell you now, you can go back and watch that past episode. So yeah, LDI is going to be fun. I think I'm speaking twice on this 2 different topics, different times, and then we have 2 tapings.
Yep, we'll be from 2 o'clock until 3 o'clock both days. We're going to be on the exhibit hall floor on the stage, which is it's in the North Hall, so we're going to be on the eastern side of the North Hall. And gang, what we're going to be doing is not doing Stump Ben Stowe.
That's right. We're not going to do that. He'll pout and leave.
Exactly. And then it'll be just me and the Lego Darth Vader. That's all that'll be left on stage. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at some of the new gear. There it is, yeah. We're going to be looking at some of the new gear. And, of course, LDI is all about lighting, all about some of the tech involved with video and things. And we're going to be kind of digging into that and bringing you guys some of the newest stuff that you probably aren't going to see until mid-2016, but we're going to bring it to you first on the tapings of the Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe show. Does that sound safe, Ben?
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing could go wrong. And for those of you who are going to be there for Pro DJ at LDI, which is a DJ conference related to the LDI show this year, which you'll also be able to, have Ben's going to be doing the presentations for the Pro DJ at LDI. You'll get into the exhibit hall, and you can come in there and hang with us from 2 to 3 o'clock each day. And you know what? Maybe we'll open up questions from the crowd.
Why not?
That would be fun.
If nothing else, it's always great to see people in person. I just love that. It's I'm a people person, believe it or not. But my ADHD just hit me here. I've got to throw this in too. I fly from LDI out to Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm speaking at an event out there the next day. So,
oh my!
Hopefully you're coming to LDI and you can come hang with us there. But if you're on the East Coast and you're not coming to LDI, it should be great to see you at that event as well.
Yeah. Wow, you are a traveling man. But then you've been gone a lot, and that's why we apologize for the summer where we've been missing a lot of shows. But I think it's either Ben's been out of town or I've been out of town or we've both been out of town and in separate states. Just a busy time.
Well, yeah, there is that whole feeding your family thing, Yeah. So we love doing the show, and we're super happy that we have viewers. You've worked really hard, John. The credit really goes to you to try to put together a production schedule and that sort of thing that we can have shows back on a regular basis. And to the viewers who have asked and commented and messaged, I appreciate your interest in the show, and I apologize that we had a little hiatus. Thanks for hanging in with us. In I guess one unintended consequence, but it has created a lot of viewership of past episodes, and I've got a lot of great questions from old episodes, and it's been kind of nice to, I think I got one the other day from Finland or something.
Nice.
I tried to filter through as best I could to translate it, but
sometimes that works. Sometimes Google Translate not so much.
No, my finish is pretty tough.
Yeah. For
Or
the
non-existent, actually.
Yeah, exactly. It just didn't make sense to me. But we want to thank you guys who are out there watching. And if you have any thoughts or questions or anything you'd like us to tackle in a future episode, we'd love for you to put that down in the comment section down below, because your feedback really gives us the direction for future shows. What do you want us to dig into, whether it's audio or lighting or how to do something or why is the sky blue? Every question is another show just waiting to happen.
Shorter wavelengths, that's why. Sky is blue. We talked about that. But
Sure, now you just spoiled that, so no one's going to ask it.
Well, I didn't go into we don't have the fancy drawing I had in that episode.
Yeah, you did. That was pretty cool.
I do have a request for our foreign viewers, because I just was sitting here thinking about this. I thought, wait a minute, we shoot the show in English, so obviously they must understand English.
Yes.
Could you please ask your questions in English?
It would make it easier. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to stump me, just speak in some other. I speak English, geek, and just a itty bitty tiny bit of Spanish. So,
yeah. Good stuff. Ben, we need to wrap it up here. You need to get back to it and head on home and see the family tonight. And I appreciate your time here. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you watching. If you like the show, go down, click the thumbs up. We just really appreciate the feedback. Comments down there with future ideas or questions you have, and we'll do our best to come in and get those answered for you. Ben, thank you very much for your time. And it's Halloween time. I'm excited. LDI, it's just a great time of the year.
Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you for watching. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV, and Ben Stowe from NLFX Pro. Good night.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will.